Alright. So, I think I just thought about something to talk about. It's been a couple days. I've been gone because I've just been super busy, like, for the past couple of days, and now I'm just exhausted. Like, so deeply exhausted, I just don't want to do anything. Which is why I originally wasn't going to do this until I came up with this kind of idea that I was thinking about. Um, oh shit, I'm about to yawn. Okay. Um, and it's a culmination of a couple of different thoughts, which is something that I saw in a YouTube short a while ago, which is a passive aggressive comment that you could say to somebody that doesn't seem like it on the surface, which the comment is, "May you live in interesting times," and I think it's so interesting to think about, right? Because like right now, at least here in America, we are living in interesting times right now. That is exactly what it means. No one's happy. Nobody likes what we're going through. The only people that are okay right now are the people that are blissfully unaware of what's going on around them, right? Like, not even just in the politics, not even just in the people. Like, it's just there's so much going on, and there's very few good things making leeway, right? And it's kind of off of that, along with something that I watched, I think it was a couple years ago now, by Neil deGrasse Tyson. He was debunking, well, not really debunking, but putting his 2 cents into simulation theory. That's just what I'm going to call it. I think there might be a different name for it, but it's where people believe that we live in a simulation. And one of the like his key argument against it is that we aren't living in interesting enough times, right? Why would someone be simulating us right now whenever nothing's going on? But since I watched that video, AI is taken off so holistically that it is now a legitimate fear of people. Now, I know it's also still debunked by people who actually know what's going on, that, like, a general AI is non-existent right now, right? All of our AI is still super specialized. That it is trained to do one hyper specific thing, and then most of the time it can't even do that better than a human. So most of the time, now there are some things like if you look at medicine or astrophysics, or it's mostly those two, and I think there's another like chemistry in general. That they're getting really good. Like AI is getting really good at finding things that we're overlooking in data, such as like finding new chemicals, and then for us to like try, right, where it'll like take just a bunch of chemicals and then simulate and combine them and see like proteins, like different chemicals that we can try to create in like a factory and see how it works, and then like proteins, seeing how they fold. Essentially they'll go and fold a bunch of things and see what could be stable, and then that could be a new protein that could do something to help us like in medicine. um and then astrophysics, AI can just comb through the copious amount of data that we have and look for patterns in it, being like, hey, like that's why you get the big headline saying, "Oh, we found 1.5 million missing planets in the universe." And it's like, yeah, of course we did, because the way that the AI is spotting that is through some super sophisticated and very minute details. Like one of the best ways that we find planets is literally because a star that we can't even see with the naked eye, hell, we can barely see it with our telescopes in space, right? Dims by like such a small fraction at a semi-consistent base that we can go, oh, there's something orbiting this. So of course we're gonna miss it, and an AI that can comb through it and be like, oh, this is consistent, instead of us going by hand trying to find it, right? It's gonna be better at that. But the thing that I was thinking about is it's a lot harder for me to sit here and just be all like, yeah, we're not in a simulation. Now, to be clear, I don't think we're in a simulation. I really don't. I don't know what the correct answer is, and I'm not going to pretend like I do. So, the way I think about it is I just don't know. So, it's all right and all wrong at the same time until something can prove to me that that is the ultimately correct vision. I'm not going to pretend like it is, right? It both is and isn't to me at the same time. So I'll sit here and I will think about all of it, right? I'm not going to sit here and just be like, no, I this clearly isn't right because I believe this thing is right. It's like, no, I'm looking at all the time, right? And then I won't sit here and definitively say this is how it is because I don't fucking know, right? But it's a lot harder to see that point like I did just a couple years ago because one of the things, like I said, AI is getting way better at such a rapid pace that people like AI can make something, and most people nowadays can't tell the difference between a video and an AI generated video, which is scary, right? But it's getting good enough that within 10 years it we might have a general AI. It all depends. Now I've also heard like read and seen and whatever that it's kind of plateauing to where like they put so much money into it, but now the return on investment. So for the first, $25 billion that corporations put into AI, it like spiked through the roof. But now for the next 25 billion, it's just kind of rounding off. I've heard that. I don't know if it's true. Um, so we might have already hit the peak, and now it's not going to get any better without much bigger investments or some sort of breakthroughs. Is this thing not focusing on me anymore? Hello? I don't think it is. Um, so there's that, but also I remember something that got like kind of overlooked. This thing is bothering me how it's not focusing right. Um, is I can't remember how it was worded, but essentially, scientists have made it so that they have I don't think it was fission, fusion, whichever one it was. They essentially created more energy than they put into like a closed system at one point in time. Which is super exciting. Now it is not as exciting or grandiose as you think because like yes, they created more energy, but it was at such a minor scale that it still means nothing, right? And you also have to and in order for that headline to matter, you have to essentially take out of the account of all of the materials that weren't the chemicals essentially used for that reaction, right? Such as like the pressure chamber that it was done in. Uh, you have to discount all of that material, like all that iron or steel or whatever the fuck it's made out of. That took energy to make that, plus the facility that it's running in, plus all of that. So essentially, what the title is the amount of straight power, like electricity that they put in or whatever they did, they got more uh what was it? I don't think it was motion. They essentially got a different kind of for some reason my brain just isn't giving me the word right now. What is it? A different kind of energy, right? So there's different kinds of energy right now. They're not coming to my brain, so I can't explain it as well as I want to. But they're the very basic ones that you'll learn about in science. Like we're not talking like electrical energy. We're talking about like motional energy or potential energy because there's a rock sitting on top of a hill. Essentially, it took one of them and turned it into another one, which is less convenient to use anyway. So, but my point is that that's just another thing that has happened. That it is the start. It is the beginning. It is a breakthrough that could lead to something much bigger, which would be free sustainable energy. Although I'm going to tell you right now, nuclear energy or fission reactors, depending on which, because I think I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure somewhere just made a fission reactor. It's like the first one, and it's doing really fucking well. Either way, we need those so that we can get away from coal, so that we can get away from natural gas before we can find something like that, because it's not coming anytime soon. But still, it's another thing that is in the first steps to being very interesting, right? Um, there was another one. I know there was another one. It is not coming to my brain right now, but those are like two of the big ones, right? Because like you can look at like what America's currently going through, and personally, that's just another footnote in humanity's tale, right? In our planet's tale, right? That doesn't really matter on the grand scheme of things. Um, what was it? I couldn't tell you. I'll probably remember it like tomorrow or something. But either way, so let's just go with those two. It's a lot harder to denote that we're not in a simulation based off of the premise that nothing interesting's going on right now compared to, 5 years ago, right? We've made some pretty I'm going to say quantum computing. I think that that was the third one. It just came to me where the corporations that are interested in making quantum computers a reality are getting a lot better at actually making what is necessary. I don't remember the name of it. I don't think it's qubits. Um, but essentially I'm going to call them the quantum processing unit because I can't remember the actual name for them right now. Uh, they are typically like they're really really hard to make and they're really really hard to make in good quality, but they're getting so much better at it that it's being projected that soon they will exist. And those things will break cybersecurity as we know it. Like everything that we know about cybersecurity will become non-exist. Like it'll still be here, but a quantum computer will just it doesn't matter because it can like rewrite the entire internet multiple times over in like an hour or some shit. It'll break every type of cybersecurity that we currently have as soon as it exists. And they're getting really good at making those things, and they're getting really good at knowing how to use them, right? So here, like, those are the big three things that I'm thinking about. They're all like, we're living in pretty interesting times that make it really hard for me to go, we're not in a simulation, because why would they not simulate whenever a species first develops, a closed loop that creates more energy than they put into it, right? Why would they not what you call it, simulate whenever AI were to rise up or start being developed or start scaling exponentially, right? Why would they not go and look at essentially what you call it? I don't think it's for some reason like Jupiter computers coming to my brain, but that's not the reality of it. It's essentially the start of computing at, I'm going to say, the most exponential level, right? Because I don't think that we could develop something more than that just because of how quantum physics is and how that works. Because, like, right now, the way that all of our computers run is off of what are called gates or logic gates, to where every single thing that you're doing, your processor is essentially just switching a binary code from 0 to 1, right? Or from 1 to 0. And that is how it's answering all questions logically. Everything that you do, like you type a question into Google, it's just doing that millions of times over to get to where it needs to be, which is why processors are getting as good as they are, right? Why they keep trying to get bigger and better so they can do more, right? So that things become easier and faster. Um, but the thing is that means each gate that is in that processor can only hold two things, right? It's either a one or it's a zero. A quantum computer or quantum physics, it's going to be able to be anywhere from 0 to 1. And we're not talking like point 0.1, point 0.2, point 0.3. We're talking point zeros into the millionth degree. And I'm pretty sure they can also go negative. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they can go negative. No, I feel like they can. I think I'm thinking of something else with that. But either way, even just from 0 to 1, and they can hold any place in between them. But what'll happen is whenever that is now called upon, then it will snap to the number it needs, whether it be 0, 1, or whatever in between. But it can hold all of those places at any point in time until it's needed. Um, and that will just make each gate exponentially better because instead of having two values it can now be essentially an infinite amount of values. And now the let's say there's 5,000 logic gates in your processor. Even if there's only 5,000 of them in that processor, where now 5,000 to the nth degree going outwards, and now you can see why things are just now irrelevant whenever quantum computing becomes a reality, right? Um, so I don't know. That's just a thought I had. Again, like I'm not sitting here saying that anything is how it is, right? Like I still don't believe that we're actually in a simulation. But that's just because of a lack of proof, right? That's that's how I am with most things. Is if unless it is proven to me within a shadow of a doubt, right? Like unless you continue to be like, this is how it is, this is why it is, and I can make sense of it and have no rebuttals, right? Or I can accept that the rebuttals that I do have don't really matter, right? I'm just not going to believe it. Instead, I will accept what you say and be like, that is a possibility. It's a real possibility, and then I'll probably keep it in my head so that if I come into some sort of discussion where that's relevant, I could bring it up. But yeah, for the most part, that's just kind of where my head was at here. Um, we're definitely in interesting times, and boy howdy, I don't want to be anymore. I really don't want to be in interesting times anymore. I would much rather be in simple times. Life would be so much simpler. But anyway, that's my thoughts for today. Sorry it's been a few days, and I can't promise that I'm going to go back to like a daily schedule. I am just exhausted, and I have a bunch of things to do that I haven't been doing. So I apologize, but here's this one, and I will see you next time.